Welcome to Missing Links. This is a video vlog that my son Chase and I have decided to start. We kind of, went back and forth on the name. What would we call what we're doing? What are we about? We like to travel. We like to play different golf courses, so we kind of show the beauty of Utah off in their golf courses. We have several videos up of some golf courses that Chase and I have played down in southern Utah. Chase has done 18 holes out here at the golf course. I'm the director of golf and golf professional here at River Oaks Golf Course. I've been here since 1999. I've been golfing for close to 50 years now. And in those 50 years, I've come to a couple of conclusions. The first conclusion that I came to is that for probably the first 1,000 lessons or so that I taught, I probably should have paid the people that I taught. I became clued in really quick for me that teaching just flat out doesn't work. So all through what I was trying to accomplish, I just had missing links back and forth. If what I did really made a difference, what I was doing, I concluded, was I was teaching people how to hit golf balls, and I never, ever touched on the point of how to teach people how to play golf. So let me say that again, because probably what I'm saying here is probably one of the most important things that you'll ever hear from a golf pro. I taught people how to hit golf balls. And all that time I spent teaching those lessons and teaching and grinding and hold it like this and move like that, I never once taught anyone really how to play golf. Now, I taught people how to hit golf balls pretty well. I think I know the swing or understand, or just in becoming, as a student, of understanding the swing a little bit better. I've come to a couple of conclusions, and those are the missing links that Chase and I really want to talk about. The first conclusion, that is, everybody's different. I mean, look at me, I'm a big guy. Whatever comments you say, I've been a big guy all my life. I'll probably die being a big guy. The truth is that if you look at my golf swing and Chase's golf swing, we're two different people. I would never once think to have Chase swing like me or Tiger Woods or any other golfer out there. Now, that's not to say that all high caliber golfers do the same things in their individual swings, because they do. But the missing links for us is that our swings are our own. I've had the real privilege in the last few years of being able to teach some of the soldiers that have come back from Iraq. I have a student that I'm teaching this week, as a matter of fact, who had half of his leg blown off and most of his upper body. It's his left leg. It's tough, and all he really wanted to do was play golf. Now, I couldn't tell him or show him or teach him something that's inside of him, which was his desire to play golf. And for me, it's a privilege to do that. So what we did was we took his body, we took his ability, and let him find his swing that'll work for him so he can enjoy the game. And really, I think that's all that all of us are looking for. So we've had some fun. We put on some blogs, some vlogs, as Chase says. We've showed some beautiful golf courses in Utah. We've done 18 holes at this golf course that I'm just in love with. It's winter, everything's a little brown and dormant, but this golf course is just gorgeous. And we want to take you on those when we're out playing and talk about what we do, what we're thinking about, what's going on in our minds, and that is part of it. If teaching really worked, then the average handicap would go down. And the fact is that in the last 20 years, according to PGA's own statistics, the average handicap in the United States hasn't gone down one stroke. Now, we've improved the equipment like you can't believe. When I was Chase's age, I hit a persimmon head driver. I used very small muscle back clubs that the sweet spot was no bigger than my little pinky nail. The golf ball in the last few years has undergone so many changes. The game itself is changing and evolving. So I think, and this is my personal philosophy, is that teaching just doesn't work. I've taught probably for the first 1,000 lessons that I've ever taught, I probably, to be honest with you, owed those people money that paid me for the lesson. I probably should have paid them for the instructions that I got. I've taught several thousand lessons now in my life. I think I understand the swing a little bit, but what I understand even better is the missing links. What is it that takes somebody from a 15 handicap to a single-digit handicap? I'll tell you the first thing it is, or isn't. It isn't how to hit the ball better. Chase and I do a few things when we play, some of the games that we like to play. We actually keep track of how many putts we have per round. So on our scorecard, we have our names, and under our names, we have putts. So we know how many putts that we're making. We can just sort of measure ourselves against each other or against past scores. Fairways hit, bunkers up and down, chipping, which is a little short game lesson that I want to get in today and talk about chipping. But these are things that we want to get into and just have you guys take a look at and consider that the missing link, there's my little grandson, missing link is right here. So look at this, already a left-handed. So let's get with it today. I'm going to teach you a little bit about the short game. In this session today, I'm going to be talking about a little bit more about the short game. One of the things I mentioned earlier is that there's no two swings alike. That one of the things that I've learned early on in my teaching career is that I can't make you swing like Tiger Woods or take Tiger Woods. You look at me, I'm a big guy. I'm over 6 feet tall. My swing will never, ever be like Tiger Woods. But I do have a swing that could be my own, my authentic swing that I could find myself. My brother's a golf pro also in California, and what I found through his coaching is that teaching flat out doesn't work. What works is when someone's open for coaching. So I'm asking you, instead of making a judgment right now, it's just to be open. I'm going to talk about all the things that good golfers, all high-level golfers do. And from there, you need to own it for your own self. I'm going to give you a way to be able to use a wedge and understand how we make these short chips around the green to reduce our scores. The biggest thing that I see with amateur golfers is that when they have a lofted club or they're near the green, what they try to do is they try to take a swing and they try to lift the ball up in the air. They try to make the ball go up in the air. And let me just show you why that doesn't work. Golf gives us an endless array or choice of shots. Like I said earlier, what I continue to see with chipping particularly is that people try to lift the golf ball in the air. So what they do is as they make the swing, the club, the hands, goes behind the golf ball because what they're trying to do is lift this golf ball up in the air. So if I'm here, you notice that the angle of this club that you would assume from this angle that my hands are ahead of the shot. Now if I'm lifting the golf ball up in the air with my hands, the hands go behind the ball. The club itself opens the face, and what you get is you get this bellied ball, and all of you have done this. All of you have probably seen this where this ball just goes shooting across the green. But if you look to see where your hands are, the hands are definitely behind the golf ball. What I'd like to really have you concentrate on are a very few things with the golf club. Now, basic 101, you know that this is the face of the golf club, that these are golf grooves. Now these golf grooves, and having clean ones is pretty important. I have to tell you, if your grooves aren't clean, you better consider cleaning them because that's what will impart spin on a golf ball. But you have the face of the club, the grooves of the club. If this is the toe of the club, then this is the heel of the club. This is, well, we like to call this El Hausel, or if you've shanked a few of them, you know that sometimes gets into play also. But the thing with the chipping lesson I want to talk about right now is this part of the golf club right here. And this part of the golf club is called the leading edge. I don't care how we stand or hold ourselves, as long as we'll stand in such a way where our hands lead the shot. You notice that the hands are ahead of the leading edge here. If I make my swing and keep my hands ahead, notice that club comes back to a perfect position. This happens to be a lob wedge or a 60-degree wedge. And as I make that swing, that club comes into a perfect position to hit the golf ball. And it in and of itself, with your trust, is what will lift the golf ball in the air. When I work with somebody in a coaching session, here again, I've gone away from teaching some time ago because my personal feeling that teaching doesn't work. I ask them, I don't believe in tips. A tip works for a day. What I'm showing you here and talking about today is not a tip. I'm just wanting you to find access to be able to improve and lower your golf score. So don't take this as a tip because it's not intended to. What I'm going to go over today is a practice. I'm going to give you some things to practice. I already spoke about what happens when that hands try to lift the golf ball in the air. We get the club in the middle and the ball goes bellied across. And that comes from lifting the golf ball in the air, and that's what a lot of amateurs do. The things that I'm talking about now, I would challenge you to go look at TV. I encourage students that I coach to do a couple of things. Number one, stop reading all the tips and Golf Digest how-to books because they're speaking in a general, as I'm speaking in a general also capacity. Number two, don't watch this stuff on the Golf Channel where someone calls in and says, well, I slice the ball, how am I going to fix that? And they give a guy a tip and off he goes and the game improves for a month and then he goes right back to the same old thing again because he doesn't have the practices in place to help him. But I encourage students to watch the high-level golfers and see what they do. And that's what I'm going to show you today. I'm going to give you access to be able to make a practice that will lower your score. The first thing is, and it's one of the hardest things, and it's impossible for me to even teach or to coach, is feel. Now, how do you know if you have feel or not? And I'm about 20 feet, 25 feet from a hole here. For me to be able to have feel, I'm 25, 30 feet from the hole. If I throw this as hard as I can, I just miss the hole by 15, 20 yards. So what I try to do in encouraging feel is I'll have my students just with their right hand or their left hand if they're left-handed, is take it and actually make a little lob like this. Stand with their body facing the target. Try this sometime. And just let your arms swing freely. Don't try to control it. Don't try to spin it. Don't try to make it do something. Just let your arms swing freely and let the ball go to the hole. And Chase will probably tell you that was about 2 inches away from the hole. And that's how you will develop feel. The better that you have this feel for a chip, it works the same way when you're with the wedge chipping. How hard do I swing? How much should I do? You see a lot of golfers go, I'm going to really hit it good. They get about this far in the air, and then they stop in the ground. Everything goes to the ground. One of the most important things you can do with your short game is that you have to have a very quiet center. If you watch the high-level players or the tour players, what they do when they make these chips, they'll warm up. They'll take 5 or 6 or 7 little swings, and they'll do it in the same grass. If they're in the rough, they'll take a swing away from the golf ball in the rough so that they can see what it feels like to have that club go through the rough. If they're on a tight lie, they practice the feel of what happens with the tight lie. But what the pros do is instead of having their full golf swing and their stance, they come and they put their feet a little closer together. The next thing they do is they open up to their target. What they want to do is they really want to let the swing come to the target itself. The next thing, let me just step out of frame here and grab a ball, is that they'll have their feet a little closer together. Their bodies are generally open up about 25 degrees from their target. The next thing they do is from the middle of their stance, they'll move the golf ball back to their right foot. Watch what happens to my hands when I move the golf ball from my center to my right foot. Did you see a very interesting thing happen there? Without doing anything, my hands have gone ahead of this golf ball. Remember, having those hands lead this shot is the most important way to get this club back to the same spot. With a very quiet center, then I have that feeling of lobbing the ball. With a very quiet center, I let the club just swing through and let it go to my target. Here again, what I've done is I've quieted my body down. I don't have a lot of movement, either up or down, or side to side through this swing. I just let my shoulders, my arms, let my hands set the club a little bit, swing through, and then I release my body towards my target after I've made contact to the golf ball. If I have that feel right, the feel for how far I want to throw the ball, in a position like this, I pick a target down on the green, I look away from the hole. I want to hit my target and let the ball roll to that target. I'll let my hands lead this shot. And release to the hole. Now, generally in doing this, even with a 60-degree club like this, I can either get the ball up in the air a little bit, or I can keep the ball down a little bit, which is fine. What you'll find is as you're quietly making this swing, that what becomes the most important is this part of the golf club right here, which is the leading edge. Because no matter where I point my body, even if I open up more to the target, I take the leading edge of the golf club and keep the leading edge at my target. As long as I keep my hands in front of the shot with the leading edge pointed at my target, the ball will go to my target time and time and time again. Try this sometime. Do it in your backyard. Go to your local golf course like mine. Grab a few balls, put them down. And the most important thing you want to do here is not try to lift the ball up in the air so that my hands get behind it to lift it up. That causes the club to come in flat, belly of the ball will go zipping across the green. And to trust yourself. Let go a little bit. Relax your arms on this. Keep your weight centered. And let the ball just come off the face and go right to your target. Now just hit 3 balls, the same spot, with 3 same swings. Hey, we're just going to do a quick recap at this moment. What we've done, particularly with this chipping game, normally would take in a lesson a good hour or more, and we're just trying to let you look at the fundamentals of what really solid golfers do. So let me just recap a few things real quick. Number one, we talked about the club face. Now, there really isn't one fix-all shot for everything. You have to really decide if you want the ball to roll, if you want the ball to lob in a little bit higher, depending on the golf ball and the green, the quality of the green and the golf ball, whether you want to hit a little spinny shot into there, particularly with a short chip like this. But there's certain things that all good high-level golfers do the same, and that's really what I want to bring for your consideration today. Not that you should do this, but I would like you to consider what happens in a miss, and that's what I want to recap with. What happens in a miss, particularly with these short shots, is that most golfers try to make lift the ball so the ball will get in the air. As they do that, here's your hands and here's the club. As they swing, their hands go behind the ball to lift it, to add lift or loft to the shot. But look what that does to the club face. It allows us to hit right in the belly of the ball, and boom, that ball goes screaming across the green. We've all had those shots. We all know what they feel like. What I like to do is I start with my lob wedge. I carry 4 different wedges, but I use depending on the shot. For me, I've always said that lie dictates the shot. That's the first thing I look at, is what the lie is like. If this is why it's real important to really choose the right club for these shots. Some of you may be a 56-degree sand wedge. It could even be a 52. But all high-level golfers do the same thing with these shots. First off, they consider the leading edge of the club. And the leading edge is always pointed at your target. The feet are a little bit closer together, and instead of being right on target with your arms and shoulders, about 25 degrees, you open up. This allows the club, as it swings through, to be able to let your body follow through and carry that leading edge towards the hole. And here again, it's all about feel. I gave you some exercises about lofting the ball like you would a bowling and throwing him, and that's the same feeling I want you to get when you make the swing with the club. Avoid trying to hit it. That's probably the number one largest problem with most golf swings, is people trying to hit the golf ball. We can't do that. The golf ball just simply gets in the way of a swing. We try to swing and let the swing dictate the shot, how far. The longer the swing is, the further the shot's going to go. That's all part of the feel, and you'll have to develop that on your own as you try to practice. So what I wanted to do is just recap with that. As you use the leading edge pointed to the target, our hips and feet are probably about a good 25 degrees open, and the hands, instead of playing the ball to the center, we play the ball towards our back foot with our weight pretty much to the center towards the left. You make a gentle swing without a lot of body. Now, you've heard of the shanks. People get in trouble with shanks. I learned a long time ago from Sam Snead that there's really only two things that cause a shank. We think it's a disease that shows up, but really, truly, it's only two things. And with these shots, it could happen also if you don't watch out for these two things. A shank occurs, number one, when you make a swing where you lead the hosel of the club. So the hands never release. The right hand does all the work and tries to steer it to its spot. And you'll have that right hand steer it. Well, that leads that hosel in there, it's wide open. The second thing, and I think this happens more, is in this nice quiet body setup, if you swing and your weight goes towards the golf ball, you bring El Hosel right into play. So this is a very quiet, non-body swing. You set the hands in the swing and release with the leading edge towards your target. Just to give you, someone asked yesterday, explain about the height. Number one of the reasons I use the 60 is because I can make the 60 go a little bit higher. I can keep the 60 a little bit lower. I can make it pretty much do what I want it to do. Now, I would never consider using a 60 degree this close to the green. This is more of a 7-iron bump and run shot, even a 52 bump and run shot. You have to decide what works best for you. But I would consider using a 60 degree to alter the loft. And here again, when we set up to a golf ball, we have our weight just a little bit to the center towards our left side. The ball is placed from the center of our ball position back towards our right toe. What that does is it puts your hands automatically ahead. Keeping my center here, I make the swing in this chip without a lot of body movement. I let my arms and shoulders, I let the club swing and release towards my target, holding my leading edge. On these shots, I let the loft of the club do the swing. So at the 60 degree, the ball will get up in the air quite easily. It's not like with using all wedges or different lofts. It really doesn't matter, because if I wanted to hit a ball lower, all I would simply do is I could de-loft the club by just moving my hands a little bit further and the ball a little bit further back in my stance. So instead of having the ball play off my big right toe, I put it out to my little toe, which puts my hands that much further, knowing that I'm going to get about half distance and half roll this way. I pick a different spot and keep my hands going. The ball comes out lower and rolls to my target. I could also, in the same breath, keep it towards my big toe, let the degrees of the club itself, the loft of the club itself, lift the ball up by just letting the swing happen, and the ball will come up. Now, if really what I want to do, and this is some of the questions that people wanted to know, is how do I know if I've hit a good shot? For me, there's two ways. I always try to read the club face. It's a little farther away, but if you're hitting a consistent shot out here in the toe, you may be too far away from it. You notice that all of my swings are pretty much in the same position. The grass, as it makes contact between the club and the ball, are towards the center of the club face. That's one way of knowing that I'm hitting the ball in the right spot, that I'm that close to the ball or far enough away from the ball. The other way is by the sound. If you hit the grass just a little bit before the ball, you've got that kind of sound. Or if I make contact with the ball, then the ground, got a nice little click. And you watch the ball as it comes off with even a little bit more speed. because I've not gotten the grass between the grooves of my club, it comes off a little bit more spin. I've got the grass not between the ball and the face of my club. I've hit the ball and used all of the grooves. So that's another way of knowing it. Now someone's asked, what if I want to hit it higher? How do I approach that? Do I change my grip? Do I change anything? Well, the first off is we always have to remember with our chip shots that the ball will go where our leading edge points. So if I want to keep my balls going in that direction, but I want the ball to come out a bit higher, all I would simply do is take my normal stance. My hands are still ahead of the golf ball, but if I take it from here, if I rotate my body even more open, and I open the club face from a normal grip to a little bit open in my stance, the leading edge of my club is still pointing towards my target, and the ball is still off my back toe, but the club face now becomes a little bit more open. I'd have to take a little bit more of a swing because the ball will go higher to get to the same distance. Kind of like this. Now, with that type of shot, you'll get almost all carry and a little roll. So if you want to plan to carry the ball all the way and let it roll a little, that'll be fine. More or less along the lines of a flop shot. So if I have the club face open, and I just let the club pass underneath the golf ball. If I take a little swing, it'll still get up in the air, land short. The ball will come off almost like a rocket off the top of my club, very high. This is how you get over, say I'm in front of a sand trap or I have a tree in front of me, I need to get over it. I have to really trust the swing. If I take the club, stop it at the golf ball at any point, the ball will just chunk into whatever I'm looking at my target is. But if I lay that club face open, be mindful of my leading edge towards my target, now I'm almost 45 degrees open with my feet, and just let my swing happen. And I try to make the club pass right through the golf ball. The blade opens, closes, and up in there you got that beautiful flop shot. There's a lot of different ways to get the ball into the hole. I really, truly don't recommend that last shot when you're around the green like this. That shot takes a little bit of practice. You have to really gauge it with how far you want it to go. It's only a shot that if you need to get it up immediately because you're over a target, something directly in front of you, that I would even think to use. Really, the safest shot, the more consistent shot you can hit on these things is let the club do the work. I know with my 60 degrees, I'm going to get half fly, half roll. So I pick a target halfway between the hole and myself. I let the leading edge point at my target, play it off my back toe, my hands are leading. Now I just hit the ball to my target. Rolls right to the target. If you have any questions or like to see something else on our missing links, just send us an email. Chase and I'd be happy to take a look at it. We're going to go into depth and some things that we think that all good top players do that you could use or try to use in your game. Everybody's different. No one way is going to fit at all. So let your swing be your swing and have a great day on the golf course. Almost made it. From there, I take a bigger swing, slide the club under the ball.